Yes, people, welcome back again to the Nick and That podcast. We're here again with another World Cup special talking about the English, the three lions. So many controversial points around this squad already. Thomas Tuchel, a German leading out the three lions to the World Cup. That's already a time bomb. I told Daniel about this already. Xavi Alonso leading out that Chelsea team to win the Premier League. It's a time bomb. But Thomas Tuchel, the German,
Not the same.
leading out a Three Lions team. I'm going to ask him, what if one day you see your beloved German coached by an English coach?
Never. That would never happen. That can never happen. Never.
So I don't know if we will ever witness this or see this in our generation where a German coach is leading out an English national team to the FIFA World Cup. Let's see what will happen. But so many controversial points around the England team at this moment where we're looking at the big names are out. You know that England haven't won the World Cup since that hat-trick
1966.
1966 with the Earth's hat-trick in that final with Sir Bobby Charlton, right? And it's
Yeah.
every time when there's a World Cup, I'm talking about my generation from like around 2006. Yeah, 2006. I'm talking about 2006, where every big names that get left out of a squad is always England of the biggest names that not making it to the World Cup are international tournament like the Euros or the World Cup itself. So we're looking at it, man. They haven't won the World Cup for so many years, decades, and still England have some of the biggest names that will not be in the World Cup. You understand? So I don't know if because of the English Premier League or what. So
Yeah.
not how much of a prestige Premier League that is. The marketing around that league is very high. The money, the stakes, everything is at its peak in the English Premier League as usual. But yeah, let's get into it. Where Thomas Tuchel squad going to play in the World Cup. Looking at it, look what Gareth Southgate did in the last two World Cup, in the last two Euros. There's so many issues of why this might go sour this campaign.
Yeah. I think first from the start, I don't even in a million years when we was growing up in Jamaica and watching World Cup, the Euros, everything, you name it, any type of football, and thinking that a German coach would have ever coached an England team. You get what I'm saying? But anyway, we here in 2026 where Thomas Tuchel is a coach of England national team, and there's a lot of controversy called. I'm a big fan of Tuchel because I'm a Chelsea fan. He used to coach Chelsea. He won us the Champions League. You get what I'm saying? I'm a massive fan of Tuchel. But I'm telling you, man, he make a blunder here. You get what I'm saying? I don't know what's going on. Is either Thomas Tuchel is a genius or he's a madman. We will know at the World Cup because
Someone said in one of the comment section, I heard that this is a payback of what happened in World War II.
so you said that the Germans sent Thomas Tuchel on an inside mission to sabotage
just,
the England team.
just like they sent Steve McLaren to sabotage the Reggae Boys team. Yeah.
But
Yeah, put
but
put on joke aside, but you're looking at I think the goalkeepers are some the easiest players to pick for this England team.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but the defenders though, when you have a pool of English defenders playing all over the world, in Germany, in England, all over the world, right? And Ezri Konsa is arguably their best center half and probably Gui at this given time. I heard many people talking about Ezra Konza is a better defender than Mark Gui, or is more important than Mark Gui for this England team because he can play center half, he can play as a right back, potentially he can play in the middle as well.
yeah,
You could see how much this England team and football itself has declined over the years of looking at the England team with defenders. England used to stack with
yeah,
defenders. You get what I'm
yeah,
saying? When you used to heard about the Sol Campbell, the king that used to play for Tottenham Hotspur, how much of a good player he was. Jonathan Woodgate, who left Middlesbrough and went to Real Madrid as well. So
yeah.
I mean,
and
the deity,
those
and
players
those
couldn't even get into the England team.
exactly what I'm saying. Julian Lescott was a not so much of a top defender, but he was more on the outside. A Lescott will walk in this England team. A Jamie Carragher will walk in this England team at this given point as a centre half. Defenders, I'm worried about this English team, especially looking on how Thomas Tuchel have been select this national team. What's your takes though around this team?
I think the defenders. I think Thomas Tuchel he's a very flexible coach, but I think he likes to play with a back three. You get what I'm saying? So I think he might play with a back three. You get me with Kwanzaa, Gay, and maybe John Stone or maybe Dan Burn around there. But I think he normally play with a back three. Depends on the opposition. You get what I'm saying? So I think they should be okay in the defense because I think Kwanzaa have really elevated his game. Gray ears has really elevated. I think if we're looking at on it on paper, we would say they're not a good defense. But if you watch these players in the Premier League, they have improved a lot. You get what I'm saying? But I know we love to watch the names on the paper. But I think Kwanzaa is a very solid defender. I think he's a top solid defender. You get me?
Kwanzaa would never start in oh 06, oh 08, oh 10, or oh 12
No,
England
you're
team.
right, you know. You're right, you know, but who otherwise than Kwanzaa, Goy, John Stone, like tell me otherwise than Maguire, Cordwell. Like England don't really have that much top defender. You get what I'm saying? I maybe Cordwell is the only one who I said should have been there. But I understand Thomas Tuchel probably looking at it like this guy just come from a huge injury. Do I
Yeah.
really want to bring him into a World Cup? A massive
And
World Cup?
and if you look at the selection issues around England, defensive department, Livermore, Reece James, Louis Hall, some of these players, even Gerald Kwanzaa as well, these players have an injury in them at some given point in their career. So I'm just looking at it where you don't want to make such a big, huge mistake by putting some fringe players that, they're fragile, John Stones as well. Look, someone said that one Stones is back with a month before the announcement of the squad. He will definitely walk in this England team. And that's how bad it is. This could never happen 20 years ago. But as I said, these players are playing, at a very elite level in the Premier League. We're more looking at the names, what these players are doing. But these players are not playing for the most gigantic clubs, the Kwanzaa, Leverkusen, I think we need to shout out Nico O'Reilly. I think he's probably one of the most fittest and more profound defender at this level for the England defensive line, where you say, look,
Yeah.
he's fit, he's strong, he's on farm. He's ready to go. Left back, left wing, midfield, number 10, you name it. The flexibility of this player is just unreal. And I think that maybe if this was a different national team, maybe you would have seen Lewis Kelly in this team as well. Look, I love Lewis Kelly. I think for Arteta to pull him out pull him off the bench, knowing that predominantly when he came through, a lot of people were saying that this is the next Asher Cole. He scored, I think, on his debut versus Malta, I think, at Wembley. And a
Yeah.
lot of people were raving like, yo, this kid have the next 10 to 15 years to play for England. And then he found himself on the bench playing, alongside Calafiori. Also, Pierre Enakapie, the Ecuadorian, cannot get in a game. And a master stroke, from Arteta to put him in the midfield. And then this this is how much talent this player have, and he can play anywhere. And I think he should be in the midfield. I think England young players needs to be in this team, especially players that love to express themselves, players that like a Skelly, love to play to the line, a very good dribbler. You don't scare to do stuff. He's very calm and he's very brave on the football. And if you look at how the Spanish teams, the French teams, look at how they pick some of their brightest youngsters as well. So I just think that Tuchel kind of dropped the ball in many different ways as well. And the Aaron Maguire thing, I mean, a lot of people saying that this is just outright BS for Aaron
Who would you
Maguire.
drop? Who would you drop for Maguire? Though?
Probably you could probably look at Jarrell Kwanzaa and say, look, Harry Maguire, I've never put a foot wrong for England over international tournaments. I've never put a foot wrong. Yes, he have some very disappointed spell, for United, but look what he did in the last couple of World Cups, especially in the Euros. You have never really put a foot wrong for Gareth Southgate. And
Yeah.
you believe if Gareth Southgate was at them, he would have definitely be one of the first name on that team sheet.
Yeah, this squad would be a total different team if they. I feel like Palmer would have make it. I feel like because let's be real, Southgate have his favorites. You get what I'm saying? And I think Maguire is definitely one of his favorites, and especially at the ending of the second half of the season, what Maguire have for Manchester United, able to get them in the Champions League, very solid run there. So I think Maguire would definitely get into this squad, but maybe I feel like Tuchel was going for a little bit more youth. You get what I'm saying? And also, I don't think Maguire can play right back or left back or even in our back three. I don't think Maguire can play on the left side or on the right side. Or you get me? So he only can able to play in the middle. If you look at all these players that he picked, it's very versatile. They can play on the left side, they can play on the right side. Even Kwanzaa can play right back. You get what I'm saying? So I think he maybe was going for a lot more flexibility with the players that he's getting in the center.
Yeah, I think you're right. And also I realize that Tuchel like to have a lot of pace at the back as well, for his
Yeah.
defenders as well. So, but I just think, with the aerial presence, the Maguire coming off the bench, to scare opponent in the last minute, you're looking for a goal. He's a scoring defender. He loves to get his head on the ball, on both side of the box, attacking on the defensive side as well. Someone that can come in the game and close out the game, and someone that can come in the game looking to get England an equalizer in a crucial phase of that game in the last couple of minutes. Very good in the set piece. So let's see what will happen during the course of the World Cup campaign as well. And Rice and Peas, Declan Rice, Elliot Anderson, Jude Bellingham, Jordan Henderson. How much of a 10 you rate a player will be in a World Cup team will be the standard police, the man that will bring the leadership and experience, knowing that he's not going to play a lot of minutes in a World Cup team.
I think this one is very controversial. I think it's gonna be very controversial, especially I think Jordan Henderson have been such a brilliant veteran. Win every major honors for Liverpool. They get what I'm saying. Was a brilliant captain under club. You get me, but I feel like I understand people looking at this like, oh, his leadership in the dressing room. Like, come on, you don't have none of this in Spain team. You don't have none of this in Argentina team. Like none of this is in none of those. I'm talking about the team that's gonna be the favorites to win this tournament. The France team. There's no France is bringing a player on the plane saying that they need this guy just here. Conte is not in France team because Conte is there for dressing room. Conte is there because Conte is going to be starting, is going to be playing. I think Jordan Henderson is taking up space in this team. You get what I'm saying? Adam Wharton. There's so many other players who too would have bring for that. They have Harry Kane. This is Harry Kane, what, third World Cup? What more
Yes.
experience? What more experience they want? They have Beckford in the goal. This is like his second to third World Cup. So there's a
Pickford.
lot. Yeah, they have Reece James. They have quality. They have already have experienced players there.
Declan Rice is
Declan Rice.
probably the real leader, 2.0,
Yeah,
the more modern leader
Declan Rice
of
is an
this team.
experienced player. You get me? Eze is an experienced player. These players win the Premier League for Arsenal. So I think Jordan Henderson quality wise is not there anymore. The experience is not needed. I'm sorry. That's a blunder by Tuchel.
Yeah, I think leaving out a player like Wharton, I think must look. You can look at England midfield where you have a selection pool of Wharton, Elliot Anderson, Morgan Gibbs White, the Declan Rice, as the main leader for these bunch of youngsters coming up. The Kobbie Mainoo, the Rogers as well. Also Jude Bellingham. You're looking at these youngsters coming through. think this will be the perfect platform to unleash these players. These players will be fearless. You could imagine Tuchel have the availability of a Lewis Kelly, a Mainoo, a Wharton in that midfield to pick from. These players that want to get on the ball, want to be brave. What this English team has struggled over the years with lack of players, in the midfield department that wants to get on the football, want to be brave, want to take up the football at this present moment where the pressure is on them in the dying moment minutes when things are getting tough. They are losing. The pressure from the fans are coming down, and I just think these youngsters, they are way different than the Steven Gerrard, the Lampard, the Scholes, the Owen Hargreaves. They are very different. These
Yeah,
players, they want to go there and prove that, listen,
yeah.
we can do it. And I think these young players, they are more technically gifted. The Mainoo, Wharton, Elliott, they are very technically gifted. I think these young crop of English players coming through, they're more looking like a Spaniard, of the Gavi, the Pedri, the Frankie de Jong playing for the Netherlands team. So I just
Yeah.
think these players are way different than what they used to have during the past.
I personally believe Rice, even when England face Argentina, Spain, the France, and even Brazil, I feel that Declan Rice is gonna have a lot on his plate. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? To go match up against those type of midfields. You get me? I think he's gonna have a lot on his plate, and I just don't believe. I like Kobbie Mainoo. I like what he bring. I like Elliot Anderson. But I feel like they're short in that midfield. I don't know why. The body is there, but I think the quality is not matching up. I just don't like look at Portugal midfield. Jesus,
Yeah.
there's no hole in the all there. In the England midfield, you can't see all there. You get what I'm saying? So I think Declan Rice is gonna have his work cut out for
Yeah, I think
him.
I think you spot on, right there where you come into play against a very Argentina team that going to stack the midfield. You remember that game that they played at Wembley versus Uruguay, and what Uruguay did? Uruguay came in England and bad them up in the midfield, draped them up.
Yeah,
You get what I'm
yeah,
saying? So that should be an eye opening of, look, these teams will do this stuff in the World Cup. They will be brave. That's why these youngsters as well, they are important, and they have the energy that can burn in the sun. You get what I'm saying? So they're fit, they're strong, and everything. Looking at Cole Palmer, these players are, I mean, Cole Palmer is a maverick. As much as Cole Palmer is not on farm, but when he's playing for Chelsea lately, he know that he's not in farm, but he still look miserable with himself. He still want to get on the football. He's still asking for the ball. He still try to do stuff that you like. Yo, this guy is delusional. Why is
yeah,
he trying to overplay the football when he should be playing to the basic of the
yeah,
fundamental plays of get the ball, take over, get about your rhythm, get into the groove, get back your confidence in, and then pick it up from there. So it's very fascinating to see how this England team, going to carry out their business in the World Cup as well. And looking at Ivan Toney, someone that since he arrived in the Saudi Pro League, over 50 plus goals in the last two campaigns. Ole Watkins, it's been an Ole Watkins show for the last month and a half, two for Aston Villa. Look at how, he's carrying this Villa team, scoring crucial and big goals, for them. Even when he's getting injured, he's still out there fighting for Villa. Saka, pick up an injury, kind of tail off, but showed a bit of flash, Noni Madueke. I don't know, man. Marcus Rashford, different Marcus Rashford than what we saw at Villa Park last campaign. No, he's doing it very good at Barcelona. Anthony Garden seems like he wants a way out, tail off, for Newcastle, not doing much. Eberechi Eze been in and out of this in Arsenal team. What's your takes though with these covers that Hurricane have in the front?
I think it's a solid. I think as I said, Toko like flexibility. You get what I'm saying? He like players that complement each other. You get what I'm saying? If you look at the right wing with Saka and Madueke. Madueke basically complement Saka at Arsenal. You get what I'm saying? When Saka not doing nothing, Madueke come on. Maybe Tuchel is looking at it that way. You get what I'm saying? On the other side, Rashford Gordon can complement each other. There's two different type of player. You get what I'm saying? Gordon is doesn't come into this. I mean, I think Tuchel contradict himself where he left Foden and Palmer out. But Gordon didn't have the best of season. You get
No.
what I'm saying? But I think Tuchel liked Gordon because when Tuchel was at Chelsea, he did want to sign Gordon when Gordon was at Everton. So he liked Gordon. I think Gordon is the type of player that work very hard off the ball though. He chop back, he press. So he's a hard working player. He might not have the numbers. And Rashford different, as I said, a different player. Went to Barcelona, I write Rashford off. I told that I don't think Rashford is good enough anymore. And he proved me wrong. He have a very solid season at Barca. You get what I'm saying? So the forward line, Keane, Watkins, and Ollie Watkins. Again, I know Ollie Watkins scored about 40 odd goal in the Saudi Arabia League, but
Um,
yeah,
Ivan Toney.
Ivan Tony scored about 5 goals in the Saudi Pro League, but you get what I'm saying? But I don't know, man. I think that I still feel like he should have been at least been one after Palmer or Foden because those players are maverick. You get what I'm saying? I think they've been a little bit different from what a Saka or a Madrid could have been. But I feel like Madrid and Saka they get the edge because they are the Premier League champion.
We see this team, three number nines, Ivan, Ole, and Hurricane, right?
Yeah.
At some given point, I'm probably overthinking Thomas Tuchel might put Hurricane in a number 10 position to
Yeah, that
accommodate
could be true.
at least one of these, number nines in the team. And to be honest, we saw what Ivan Toney, can do at the highest level for England. But it's very surprising that for someone played not 30 minutes under Thomas Tuchel since he came in over the last year or so, get into this World Cup team at the last given moment. I believe before his phone ring that listen, you're going to be in the team. I think Ivan Toney probably doubt his selection that he will get selected, especially knowing that the geopolitical issue with Saudi Arabia and England and how much they view the Saudi Pro League. I don't think going to Saudi Pro League, you're going to be a bad player overnight. Look at so many players that scored a lot of goals in the Premier League, like likes of Marne, Firmino, these players. And look what Ivan Toney is doing. So it shows that players went there and didn't perform. Players go there and perform. So I don't think him go there over the last 2 seasons or so. He became a bad player overnight. I just think he is. No, I'm not saying you saying he's a
Yeah,
bad player, but I'm
yeah,
just saying
yeah,
people out there, putting out that look, he is a bad player. We should be questioning the goals that he's scoring at that level. So I just think that they overreacting as well. I think if you can pick the best players who are playing at the high level as well, and also going to bring the balance and complement each other in that squad, why not? We see Brazil, we see the likes of Uruguay, you see the likes of France. These national teams are picking players. That's playing in the Saudi Pro League. Look at Italy. As know they missed the last couple of World Cup, but Rutegi, the former Atalanta player, playing in the Saudi Pro League, getting picked for Italy. So I don't think the Saudi Pro League is a bad league. I think it's a very good league. I think if that player playing in the Saudi Pro League going to complement what you have at your international level and bring the balance, you should pick
yeah.
him. You should pick him. And I think Ivan Toney, he will bring a lot. And I don't think Calvert Lewin, name some other striker, Danny Welbeck. I don't think none of these strikers are good enough to at this level than Ivan Toney. He's a maverick of a player. He's a very good penalty kicker as well. So
Yeah.
these things you have to put into context as well. Like maybe this is some of the reasons why he's there. We know
Yeah.
his penalty percentage of finishing it's very high. You don't really miss penalty. So it could be a lot of things where Thomas Tuchel is just looking at where the flexibility of the squad
And
it needs to be
and
there.
and all three striker is totally different. If all three of them bring something totally different to
Yeah.
the team.
Ole Watkins, what he bring, Hurricane and Tony cannot bring that. He will stretch any back line. He will come on with players having tired legs. have to be dealing with the likes of Rashford, the likes of Anthony Garden, and you come on in games and even be a little more ruthless, in his place. So I guess each of these strikers really complement each other. But that is it around the Three Lions. People, let me know what you think in the comment section. You understand? Much love and respect to you guys.